Hello everyone! I'm so happy you're here with me today. We're going to practice English through another emotional story. And this time, it's about love, choices, and the courage to start again. Today we'll use the shadowing technique. First, listen to the sentence, then pause the video and repeat it after me. Try to copy my tone, rhythm, and pronunciation, like a shadow following the sound. All right, let's begin. The story is called The Rules We Broke. It's about two people who worked by the book until life made them write their own. My name is Emma. I'm 32 years old. I work as an operations manager in a large technology company. I organize everything: projects, teams, deadlines, chaos. People say I'm calm, reliable, always in control. Maybe that's true, but sometimes control feels like a cage. A golden cage, polished and neat, but a cage nonetheless. I used to love my job, the energy, the rhythm, the challenge, but lately everything feels mechanical. Meetings, emails, numbers, deadlines stacking like towers I can't touch. And silence at the end of each day that feels heavier than any task. Then one Monday, we got a new director, Liam Harper. Everyone said he was brilliant. I said I'd decide that myself. He walked into the conference room, late, with coffee in hand. The aroma of roasted beans filled the air for a moment. He smiled. "Sorry, everyone. I got lost in your time zone." People laughed. I didn't. I noticed the way he moved. Confident but relaxed. Natural. And somehow, it made the room feel different. During the meeting, he challenged almost every plan I presented. It annoyed me and fascinated me. He questioned numbers, timelines, even phrasing. But it wasn't criticism. It was attention. Real attention. When it was over, he said quietly, "Good work, Emma. You think fast." And I realized I was smiling. A smile I hadn't noticed on my own face in months. Over the next weeks, we worked side by side. He asked questions no one else asked. He noticed patterns I didn't see myself. He teased gently when I overplanned. And sometimes he simply listened while I vented in silence. Sometimes we argued. Sometimes we laughed. Sometimes we said nothing, but everything was said. The kind of silence that is full of understanding. I started noticing him in small ways. The way his sleeve rolled up when he typed quickly. The slight lift of his eyebrow when he disagreed. One evening, after a long meeting, he wrote to me, "You always have the last word." I answered, "That's because I'm usually right." He sent a single emoji, a coffee cup. And somehow, that felt personal. As if he had shared a little secret and I was the only one who got it. There was a rule in our company: no relationships between employees. It was written in every policy. Clear, strict, final. And I had always obeyed rules. Always. But my heart started to question them in quiet moments. Especially when I caught myself smiling at him in the middle of a board meeting. Or when I stayed late just to talk about a minor problem that wasn't even mine. So when he asked if I wanted to grab dinner just to talk, I hesitated. The hallway felt longer than usual. My mind raced, my heart raced faster. But I went anyway. We talked for hours. About work, about music, about London rain and New York winters. We shared little stories from our childhoods. He told me about a street in London where he learned to ride a bike. I told him about my favorite cafe near my first apartment. He listened, really listened. No pretense, no rush. And in that listening, something unspoken shifted between us. We walked through the quiet streets afterward. The city felt alive but calm, like the world had slowed down just for us. Streetlights reflected on wet pavement from an earlier rains. I noticed the small things. A cat crossing the alley. It all felt like a backdrop for the start of something fragile. Uncertain, yet undeniable. When I stood up to leave, he said, "You know this can't happen." I said, "Then maybe it already did." After that night, everything changed. Meetings felt longer, coffee breaks shorter. Every glance across the room was electricity. A brief smile, a subtle glance, each one loaded with meaning. He leave a note on my desk, "Good luck today." I reply with a post-it, "You too." The notes grew, little jokes, observations, coffee plans, small rebellions against the rules we were meant to follow. I began leaving a small chocolate on his desk sometimes, just to see if he noticed. And he did. He always noticed. One afternoon, he presented a new project idea. It was bold, risky, exciting, but the board rejected it. Too emotional, they said, too human. After the meeting, he paced the hallway, angry. His tie loosened, sleeves rolled up, hands running through hair. They don't want innovation, they want control. I watched him, and for the first time in years, I felt something wake up inside me. I was tired of control too. Tired of silence, tired of playing by rules that had nothing to do with life. We started staying later together, not working, but talking about possibilities, about dreams, about places we like to see, about what it means to really live. A week later, everything collapsed. HR called me in. Someone had reported unprofessional behavior. They didn't say who. They offered me a transfer. They ended his contract. We said goodbye in the parking lot. Cold wind, no words, just a look. I felt the empty office weigh heavier than ever. He said, "Maybe someday we'll work where people matter more than rules." And I said, "Maybe we'll have to build that place ourselves." Months passed. The office felt empty without him. I did my job, smiled, answered emails, but something was missing, something real. A quiet pulse that had existed between us was gone. I thought about him constantly. Evenings alone felt longer. Cafes seemed duller. The commute felt emptier. One morning, scrolling through LinkedIn, I froze. Liam Harper, founder, Northlight Consulting, helping businesses work like humans again. I stared at the screen, and then I saw the last line, "We're hiring." My hands shook. I clicked message. Still need someone who's always right. I stared at the blinking cursor. Then a notification. Only if she's ready to break a few more rules. Now we work together again. In a small office with too much sunlight and not enough chairs. No politics. No fear. Just work that matters. We laugh. We argue. We challenge. We break the rules. But carefully. Sometimes when he looks up from his laptop and smiles. I still remember that night at the cafe, when everything began with one forbidden question. On the wall behind his desk, there's a wooden sign. Says, "We left the rules behind, not the people." And sometimes late at night, when the office is quiet, I think about how fragile everything was. How a few moments, a few words, a few glances can change everything you thought was steady. Great job, you finished the story. Now, listen to it again and repeat each sentence out loud. This will help you improve your fluency, rhythm, and pronunciation. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Thank you for practicing English with me today. See you next time.